Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My Honourable Baroness, Lord Ahmed, Members of Parliament, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and a very good evening to you all. I welcome you here for this meeting that actually Shahzada Hayat has organised. I am only a host here. And it is to pay tribute to those who lost their lives in Peshawar in a terrorist attack a few weeks ago. It was a cowardly attack on children, targeted at children and killing so many of them. Children had no enemies. They were not provoking anybody. They didn't have any enemies at all. And those who chose to attack children in that way, they are murderers, they are barbaric, and there is no room for them in Islam, the religion that we believe. And they may call themselves Muslims, and I don't think Islam has anything to do with this kind of barbaric terrorism. I think loss of lives in this way, killed by innocent people's life going this way, is condemned by every person in the world, whatever religion they might have. And we all are united on that. And with that, I would request Lord Nazir Ahmed to say a few things.
My lords, Yasmin, ladies and gentlemen, can I first of all thank Shahzada Hayat for organizing this meeting in memory of those innocent children. I think tragedies always bring people together, and this sad tragedy has brought the Pakistan nation together, political parties together, and Sahibzada Sahib is here. In fact, his leader, Imran Khan, even stopped his demonstration in Islamabad and decided to, in memory of those beautiful children, go to Peshawar. And it's good to see today both diplomats from Pakistan and India to be on the same table sharing the same grief as the parents and the families and the whole nation. Because these are young angels who were murdered by, I don't believe for 1 minute, I don't even want to refer them to be Muslims. I don't believe that they had anything to do with religion. These were evil people, and there is clear signs that they came from the other side, on the side of the western side of the border, and hence the reason why representation was made to the Afghan government. Having said that, I think it's also very clear that those people who were present 2 days ago, we had a meeting here when one of the artists from ARY came, and there was a gentleman who spoke who had been to Peshawar, and he said, why are we mincing our words? Why are we talking about attack on school and attack on children? Basically, these evil people came and they killed the children of Pakistan soldiers. They actually separated the children of the soldiers from the civilian children and actually targeted them and killed them. So that brings me to the point that we wholeheartedly support Pakistan Army. We stand shoulder to shoulder with them until they finish and kill and get rid of every terrorist that actually exists within Pakistan or even outside Pakistan that is threatening Pakistan.
Over 1 million people in Britain are of Pakistani heritage. So of course the events of the 16th of December hit home to us. Whether or not one is personally of Pakistani heritage, almost everyone in Britain will have a friend or a neighbour or someone they regularly do business with for whom those events have huge personal significance. I want to briefly repeat the messages of condolence, one or two of the most significant ones that were issued from Britain after those dreadful events. First of all, Her Majesty the Queen sent a personal message of condolence to the President of Pakistan, His Excellency Mamnoon Hussain, and she said, "It was with great sadness that I learned of the tragic loss of life at Peshawar. On behalf of the people of the United Kingdom, Prince Philip and I wish to convey to you and to the people of Pakistan our deepest sympathy. As fellow members of the Commonwealth, we place so much emphasis on young people and the hope they inspire across the world. I am particularly saddened that so many of the victims were children and their teachers, struck down at their place of learning. My thoughts and prayers are with the families of those who died. I wish the many who were injured a swift and full recovery, and my heartfelt condolences go to all those who have been bereaved. I know a reasonably large amount about the Muslim faith, and I am well aware that it is a faith of peace, and that, in my view, those people who were responsible for this horror should be condemned for violence, for abnormal behaviour, and for evil.
Yeah.
For evil, unequivocally. And I know that the Muslim faith, properly practiced, does not give any succour to views of violence. Thank you for listening.
When I heard about what happened in Peshawar, just as Baroness just said earlier, I was shell-shocked. I think most people would have been at the horrific nature, because it wasn't just killing of people. We've seen in the last number of 20, 30 years, there's wars going on, conflicts going on, killings going on, bombs going off, all over the place. So we kind of sadly, you could say almost, have become anesthetized to the level of violence and killing going on in the world. But I think this was a really unusual, because as has been alluded to earlier by Lord Ahmed, is that they actually picked out and separated children, who belong to the army as opposed to the others. And the fact that when some of the teachers tried to save the children, they poured oil on them and actually set them to light. I mean, it's just the horrific nature of it was quite, you could say, unusual, remarkable, horrifying. I can understand a nation would get very angry at this. And whilst I'm not going to go into the issue of the army courts and wherever, I hope though that the rule of law is still observed, and that proper, and maybe this is because, as somebody who kind of very strong advocate of human rights, even in times of in difficult time, because in fact that's where your humanity, the fact that your civilized nation comes out, when you're actually facing threat and when you're facing a challenge. And I hope that the Pakistani courts, even though they're military courts, will go through proper judicial process, there will be proper evidence presented, and people will be convicted of that evidence. And the next thing about, the possibility of, again, the natural almost reactions throughout all the Afghan refugees in Pakistan, and I would agree with Lord Ahmed that, that's not right, because a lot of those innocent refugees weren't involved in this. And in any event, even getting rid of refugees, even having the military court, isn't actually going to solve the problem in Pakistan, what's going on. It is a global war that's happening. It's not isolated to Pakistan. You've got, whether it's Afghanistan, whether it's Algeria, whether it's Yemen, what's happening there now, Syria, Iraq. They're all kind of almost, everybody's linked. So, as far as I'm concerned, have the courts, have all these things, but they're not going to solve your problem. So you have to then think above all this. And what is missing, and I will say this openly, is a complete lack of leadership in the Muslim world. Complete lack of leadership. Because when you think of how many Muslim countries there are, when you think of how much money they have, when you think of how much power some of these people have, yet in all this global war, Muslims are killing other Muslims. Yes, there are a few non-Muslims getting killed, like in the issue of, France, but over 90% of the people who died as a result of these wars are Muslims. It's a tragic situation, but it's not going to go away.
Pakistan at the moment is the biggest casualty of terrorism in the world. The hospitals are full to the brim. If you go there, and you go to every hospital, every ward, every bed, every doctor is attending people who are victims of terrorism. And as we speak here, sitting in this great house, one of the greatest house of democracy in the world, Pakistan armed forces are in the air, on the land, fighting terrorism with their full might, and so forth. Now, terrorism, if we define terrorism, is it a new concept? It's been maligned with Islam, it's been maligned with religion, but no religion, we've all established that no religion on this planet advocates terrorism. Every religion you read, whichever religion it is, they advocate love and peace and harmony. But if we were to look back at history and look at how old this terrorism is, and if you look at the Hebrew textbook, and if you look at Moses, was he not terrorized to the brink that he had to go to the edge of a sea for the sea to part? Was it Muslims who did that? Then if we look at the Christian interpretation of Christianity, the greatest heinous crime, according to the Christians, was against Jesus. Look at the terror, look at the pain, look at the extreme nature of carnage and destruction. According to the Christian faith, he faced Jesus. Was it the Muslims there? And what I want to ask and say is this in this great house to the parliamentarians, people who can make decisions, is this. Is he the terrorist, the young boy, maybe age 7 or 8, wearing a jacket, going somewhere to a house, and he is blown up and blows the people up? Is he the terrorist? Is that woman the terrorist whose body is being fixed with gelignite and so forth, and someone else controls it and blows it up and so many people are getting blown up? Is that the terrorist? Or is it the man wearing the loincloth and flip-flops or slippers with the most sophisticated weapons on this planet, who goes into a school and kills people and gets himself killed? So the terrorist is killed, as so-called, and the people are killed? I think it is a bigger picture here. Who are the terrorists? Is it that young boy? Is it that young girl? Is it that man who's wearing flip-flops? Is it the terrorist? Is he living in a mud hut? Is he living under a tree? Or is he living in the capitals of the world, very sophisticated, who benefits from this? Is he the manufacturer of terrorism? Should we not be looking at who are these people? Disguised, camouflaged, and we cannot probably see them? Are they so powerful now that they're making us fight each other? I think time has arrived for us to realize who the real terrorist is.
You see, when I came here knowing that this is the 140th day of the massacre that took place at Peshawar, I was thinking probably I'm going to end up with a massive crowd. And how so much crowd is going to come into House of Lords, especially in a committee room. So this lady sitting next to me asked me, are these the people? I said, no, they're going to be massive people outside the parliament, and whatever we are saying, it will be relayed down there. I joked with her because it saddened me. It made me angry that only 15 people? Where is our civil society? We keep bashing the West. On and off, any problem, West is responsible. It's a very large, silent majority which is living in this country, but somehow they have disconnected themselves. Who are they? They are bankers, they are lawyers, they are doctors, they are professionals. They think this problem doesn't connect them. Because the division between, especially in Pakistan, between the have and the have-nots is widening so much that the elite just do not want to be concerned or connected in anything that goes on in the common life as long as they are all right. I was visiting Pakistan, on and off I visit. There are 15 bodyguards standing outside with machine guns. And I often said to those people, it's about time you turn these machine guns not outside, but inside the houses. Who are you protecting? You see, when I saw what happened in France, it has been a very sad week and sad month of first Peshawar and then in France. I was glued to the television. Those two barbaric lunatics, the brothers, along with their associates, have held the whole country hostage, killed 17 innocent people. And then what happened after that? There were over 1.5 million people on the streets of Paris. The entire European leaders walked hands in hands along with the march. That is civil society. And a larger catastrophe took place, much larger. 140 children were slaughtered, massacred, gunned down by machine guns. Was Islamabad filled with 5,000 people? Did at all any city of Pakistan had demonstrations where people came out on the streets? Did any of the Muslim leaders from around the world flew to Pakistan to be present and sympathize with the Pakistan government? Did OIC come forward with any statement condemning it? Nothing at all. Though we are very few here, but I propose we spread the word to the word of mouth and through publications and through newspapers, establishing a fund for those deprived children who wants to have education but are deprived here in the UK. And by this fund, please let us ensure that we are able to send them some good books, some computers, things which they are alien to. When I grew up in Pakistan, I used to go to a British cultural center down there, which was just down the road from where I used to live. There were no computers, there were no mobile sets, there were no telexes, there were no faxes in those days. Yet the books were available. I used to look at those books. I used to open up a Monopoly, and I used to see this Piccadilly, this is Trafalgar Square. And then I started dreaming, one day I'm going to come down here, I'm going to live here. Give them also a chance of a better life. Those cultural centers don't exist anymore. Those bookshops don't exist in Pakistan anymore. We should be concentrating more in there. We should be establishing on the streets bookshops, And for all that, funding is required. And funding can only be raised through two sources. One, through our civil society, friends, other people. And then when we do it, then we can pressurize the government also. But if we go to the government now and say we need funds, government is used to it, we are all the time begging for money. Because we need to be seen doing something about it. We need to be seen organizing a 15,000 demonstration on Park Lane in support of these children. Quietly carrying a candle, 10,000 walking. You think we will not get notice in the parliament? You think Prime Minister is not going to notice us? Everybody is going to notice us. CNN is going to run the whole thing down. But we got to do it. Now, we are very divided. For God's sake, my final word would be, let us all stand up as a civil society, because civil society is what is lagging.
I would just like to say that, we are all united in condemning such attacks. It was a horrible, very tragic act, and an attack on innocent children is not justified by anyone. So we are all with you in this hour of grief and pray that we put an end to all this for a better world.
We all condemn all forms of terrorism in various shapes, sizes, wherever it exists, wherever it happens. And we, as Pakistani representative of the Pakistan High Commission, we mourn the death of innocent children, their martyrdom, I should say, who have sacrificed their lives for the country, and they're again attending the school with the same spirit, and they're putting a very bold face. I must appreciate those children and convey our condolences to the families who have lost their future in the form of young children.
So I think Pakistan lives in a very difficult neighbourhood. I think the Pakistani army has to be seen around the globe as playing a vital role. It has paid a heavy price. Pakistani people pay a heavy price, and I think that needs, and I think it is acknowledged around the world. I think it does need further acknowledgement that the efforts of the Pakistani people in fighting this global terror threat is enormous and is central to all our efforts. I think one thing that Pakistan does have is it can offer a very fine example of the Republic, the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, of how to do things, because it hasn't developed as an Islamic Republic over many generations, over many centuries. It was built by the by the great Muhammad Ali Jinnah. It was written down, a constitution which talks about how communities can live integrated side by side, human qualities, human rights, rights for everybody, and coexistence. Somewhere along the way we seem to have lost our way, but we don't have to go far back in time or in history to find what is written down. And I think as an exemplar of a Muslim country, Pakistan can become that example to the world. And I think something like that needs to be done, because we have all analysed and given an assessment of some of the difficulties, and that's very welcome. But I also think we should talk about some of the solutions going forward, and that is a strategic, bold solution.
It's a very sad day for Pakistani and Muslims. I think who done this act, to me, they are not Pakistani, they are not Muslim. Muslim and Pakistani people cannot do that act what they done, how they done. Young child, 3 to 4 years, 5 to 6 years, they killed. Nobody can do that. And I strongly say that they are hired. These people sort of thing, they hire from somebody who do this sort of act. And we like to urge from the Pakistani government, found out where they come from and who actually support them. This is the way. And I like to ask the government to protect all other schools. The accident happened on the 16th of December, not repeat again. It's a very important message. Thank you very much.
I wanted to actually respond to 1 or 2 comments being made earlier, but people who made the comments, most of them are gone. But nevertheless, I think a few things need to be put on record. And well, one of the things that I would want to say is it isn't a Muslim world problem as such. I think terrorists have no religion. It is beyond religious boundaries. It is the mindset that we need to fight against. It is. I was only reading a newspaper yesterday that in Pakistan the terrorists have targeted doctors in Karachi, and in the last 1 month or so, more than 25 doctors have been killed. They have been targeted, and the doctors are fearful of their safety. Now, these are the same kind of people who are killing children, they're killing doctors, and they are targeting who they want to kill. The terrorist ones, who wants to kill a doctor who saves lives? Who wants to kill children? This is the mindset that the Pakistani public is up against. And let us not forget, it isn't an extreme in Pakistan that I was born in. Pakistan was not an extremist country at all. Actually, when I left the country 45 years ago, I have never seen anybody carrying a gun in my area where I lived. And this is how peaceful Pakistan was. And let us not forget, it is the legacy of the Cold War that Pakistan is being driven in that direction when the Soviet forces came into Afghanistan. And we all know the terrorists from all over, the extremists from all over the world were brought together and to fight the Soviet occupation of Afghanistan. And once the Soviet forces left Afghanistan, I have to say, our countries, including Britain, we left Pakistan with that problem to deal with, and we just walked off the scene. And it is our responsibility that we left Pakistan in that situation. We brought Pakistan into that situation to cater for those extremists from all around the world, all the leaders of Al-Qaeda, those who have been known so far, some of them have been killed. None of them was Pakistanis. All those who are killing these children, none of them are Pakistanis. So these are the extremists from all around the world, which were brought together by not Pakistanis, not by the will of Pakistanis, but it was a Western friendly countries who asked Pakistan to act as a frontline state to fight against the Soviets. And as I said, this is the legacy of the Cold War, and the responsibility that we have, and I keep saying that from the floor of the House, that we need to help Pakistan to get out of this situation, that we actually dragged it in. And I'm glad to say that the present coalition government is giving Pakistan aid more than any government in the past has done. And Pakistan is the biggest recipient of our aid from here, and most of the aid is going to education and health, and particularly in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Balochistan and South Punjab, the most deprived areas of Pakistan. And there was a suggestion of actually collecting some money, and I think it is a very difficult area to operate in. I don't think collecting money here will easily be able to be distributed in the areas that we're talking about. There's a law and order situation there, the terrorism and all the rest of it. It's only right that it goes through the proper channels, and as the DFID money is getting spent through the proper channels. And we are satisfied the way that DFID money is being spent for the education and health needs of those people in that part of the world. And with that, once again, I thank everybody, and particularly diplomats from both countries, Pakistan and India, to be here today and show their solidarity. There are different reasons for conflict areas, where people are getting killed. But in this particular case, in Pakistan, it's a unique situation. And in the unique situation, there are some extraordinary steps taken by the Pakistan government, like holding the military courts to deal with the terrorists and so forth. I hope it's not going to be an open-ended situation. Hopefully, this should go only until Pakistan gets back on its feet and the terrorist situation is dealt with. and there will be a sunset clause to this legislation that has allowed for the courts to be established, military courts to be established, and sooner we get Pakistan back on the track and see Pakistan free of these terrorists, the better, and hopefully the courts, we will not need military courts after that. With that, once again, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
My Lord, as always, thank you. Thank you very much.